sorely tempted with this one, instead of putting review The Circle, instead putting my newspaper magazine headline, which is The Circle, more like Downward Spiral. Ha. Okay, that's good enough.
Do you think you behave better or worse when you are being watched?
The Circle is a 2017 Netflix film starring Emma Watson, Tom Hanks, John Boyega, Karen Gillan, the kid from Boyhood. I'm listing out this all-star cast for a reason, Patton Oswalt, because I feel like Netflix got a piece of paper that said based on best-selling novel film starring da-da-da-da-da-da, and then they went, yes, perfect, we'll buy that, because this was supposed to be Netflix's big push for a big film. They sort of tried with Beast with No Nation, but that was more of like an awards film, just because of the subject matter and also because it had a small cast except for Idris Elba. And this one, they were really going to try and push it and say, you know, this is our first big break. Then I assume someone saw the film, because it's terrible. It's really quite bad. The Circle, the title is based on the company where Emma Watson works in the film. It's basically just if you imagined Facebook and Apple combined and Google, sort of. This premium Silicon Valley company, they have a campus where everyone works and plays 24/7. You're not really clear what the company does, which is a minute problem compared to everything else, but they're basically just a social media technology company. And the catalyst to what goes into the rest of the film is that they invent a tiny camera that can be placed anywhere and live streamed in perfect quality. And, you know, in the trailer they've got the quote, you know, knowing is good, knowing everything is better. It's a decent enough concept, and I think that they did well with the trailer to try and sell it as sort of a thriller. That was actually, to be honest, the most appealing aspect of it, because Netflix did quite well with the latest series of Black Mirror. I know that's all Charlie Brooker, but it was a good series, a good continuation of the series, and so this basically just felt like, from the trailer, like a Black Mirror film. But it's not like that, really. It's very stupid, and it just feels like someone's just done social studies for the first time and they had their mind blown by the fact that social media could be bad sometimes. They're just like, oh, I've got to put this into a concept, I've got to quick write this down. And so a lot of the film is just people standing on a podium like Steve Jobs, just going, circlers, do you like to share? And then going off about this analogy, that metaphor, and it just gets very, very repetitive, very preachy. It just keeps going on, and some scenes just drag for so long. I feel like there's one scene in particular where Emma Watson's just working at her station, and then these two guys come over and say, you know, oh, we've just noticed that you're not really posting anything on your Circle social account. You really should be. It's voluntary, but it's like, you don't have to participate, but, you know, we want you to participate, and that's a fine scene as like a cutaway thing. This scene goes on for what felt like 3 minutes. It just keeps on going and going and going to the point where you're like, yeah, I got the point. I know that they're trying to force her to do this, and it's weird. The film started off well enough, actually. It started off as a relatively okay film. Emma Watson was a bit bland, as per usual, but I liked where it was sort of going. I think that there are moments in the script which are not laugh out loud funny, but they're smirk funny. Like, they do have odd lines where it does work, which kind of, in the beginning, they just sort of, I feel like they tricked me into thinking it could get better as it went on. I don't think I've seen a film so consistently decline in a long time. It's very consistent with its decline throughout. It's just very scientific, you know, analytical terms from Jack today. Every single scene gets a bit dumber, a bit more unreasonable, a bit just ridiculous. Whether it be from characters' motivations, like halfway through the film, they show it again in the trailer, this is not a spoiler. Emma Watson's character turns her life into basically the Truman Show, the way everything is live streamed 24/7. The way that it's set up, that she goes into this, is very strange. She seems to just go along with it. She's a very bland main character, because the plot just happens to her the whole way through, and she just flits what her ideology is, regardless of what characters are speaking to her. It's not like that's part part of her character that she changes depending on who's on the room. That is a quality of some people. It's not. It's just that there's nothing to her character, and so it's just she is whatever the scene needs her to be. If she's trying to push their agenda, she is in that scene. If she needs to be against their agenda, she is for that scene. And then it just switches back to whatever the script wants or whatever the film wants. I heard the book is of high quality. I mean, it is a bestseller, but I can't comment on that whatsoever. All I know is that this film was stupid, beginning to end, getting dumber and dumber and dumber. 2 more points before I wrap up, but they're inconsequential points really, so if you just want my quick thoughts, yeah, if you like thrillers, if you like sci-fi films, whatever, it's not really worth it. It's just, there are much smarter films that handle every single topic in this film better. Just watch Black Mirror, really. it's much better. But anyway, on to inconsequential points. So Emma Watson is friends with the kid from Boyhood, and he's a rustic type, like he's the friend that, oh, I don't go on social media, I don't need social media, and he's a carpenter. Near the beginning of when Emma Watson's doing all her social media stuff, her mum shows, oh, this is a thing that your friend made, it's a chandelier with deer antlers. And Emma Watson's like, oh, that's so cool, I'll take a photo of this Skype call of you pointing to the chandelier, and then it comes out in much higher quality, of course, because it's a film. And she posts it to social media. It comes back as a plot point later that people are messaging this guy, like finding him even though he's not on social media, saying you're a deer killer, you're this, you're that. It's just such a bizarre point to me. And it's like he gets death threats over this apparently in the film. Deer antlers just fall off at the end of the... I know it's a very pointless point, but it just bothered me because it's such an easy explanation to just say, I'm not a deer killer, they naturally fall off at the end of the season. That's all that had to be said to wrap up that entire plot point, which ends up being the central, like, turning point in the finale, which is so stupid to me. It's just, like, very, very simple, 1-sentence answer. It's literally just could be, go on Wikipedia, could be what he says to another character to prove that he's right. And the way that spirals out is by far the dumbest part of this entire film, but it stemmed from this one thing that made me annoyed, so that kind of just ran through the rest of it. The other point is more of it's not a technical point about the film, it's more a conceptual point about the film. A lot of these techie, not hard sci-fi films that try to tackle social media and this Big Brother concept, I think that they just seem to get one aspect just missing from it all the time, and it's something that it's only really twigged with me with this film, which is that, you know, all of these social media films, I suppose you could sort of say Nerve was a recent one, I suppose, and to talk about Black Mirror again, season 3 episode 1 was that, which I thought was the worst of that series. They always seem to focus on, you know, the person finds out about it, the person becomes a star in it, and they become popular, and it's all about them being the content, and then it suddenly, like, becomes darker. But that's the thing, is that they're focusing on an experience that not everyone has with social media. Like, no, barely anyone. Like, out of the millions of people that have Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or whatever, we're not, like, signing up and within a month, like, fans are flocking at us, like, screaming. The problem with a lot of it is that 99% of people's experience with social media and all of that is just consuming. It's very uncinematic because it's just 99% of people just scrolling through their phone. I think I'd be more interested now in seeing a social media film that focuses on how the consummation of something affects someone, rather than, because in this film Emma Watson does not, she only produces stuff, she films her life, she takes photos of things, and then people comment on her, but she never responds to the comments, she never, like, you never see her going through a feed or anything like that. There are so many problems with this film that it's a very small point to make, but I just think that it creates a disconnect between the viewer and the point that they're trying to make. Great, well, hopefully that wasn't too rambly. The Circle, it's on Netflix. It's not, like, shockingly bad. Like, it's not enough to make me angry by any means, like some bad films do. It's a film that does not require to ever be watched, and it's a film that I believe will be totally forgotten by the end of this year, definitely. Great, thank you very much for watching. If you want to hear any more from us, we do reviews more on this channel. We've also got the podcast and Backstory Scripts podcast. Great, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully watch more. Bye.